welcome everyone to my review of what I hope is an ongoing series of Spider-Man the Animated Series. This is going to be about the first episode, Night of the Lizard. Now, the Lizard is one of my favorite characters and probably my favorite Spider-Man villain, so it's very much, appropriate that the show really started with this, and it kind of got me into the series. Now, when the show started, it was like this weird time for Marvel because they weren't exactly going bankrupt, but it was right before they had to sell all their rights. So this show was, of course, produced along with the X-Men, Fantastic Four and all that, which really showed like a building of a universe that was shared between all these cartoons, which of course Marvel would later on come to, make famous for their movies. Now, this show started in a really good way, I feel. They didn't tell his origin until much later on in the series. It just started off with Peter, and there's these reports of, there's this lizard guy, he's kidnapping people. We even got an intro to Eddie Brock right there on the spot. Obviously, Peter's been Spider-Man for, at this time, it could be any disclosed amount of time. Maybe it's been a year, maybe 2, maybe 3. But anyway, he decides, alright, there's this thing, my, Aunt May has all these bills, I'm gonna go investigate this and get a picture for J. Jonah Jameson. He goes down and, in the sewers, does a little bit of exploration, and here, we really got a sense for who Spider-Man was. One of the things that really bugged me was, of course, this didn't have Gwen Stacy at all. They took her out because they felt behind the scenes that telling her story would kind of shock kids, the whole death aspect. So there was this character, Deborah Whitman, who's from the comics, but really just kind of like a stand-in. They went straight for the Mary Jane thing in this. The Lizard, of course, was a very cool done. I really like his story. It's very simplistic. I want to turn everybody. Yeah, I'm the Lizard, just like in the Amazing Spider-Man movie. Which, here I felt it worked. We all know who Kirk Connors is, especially if you were, following the comics. So it was very cool to see this. And at the end, we even got this a little bit with Brock. You can already see him, being formulated to become Venom. The genesis of why Eddie hates Peter Parker so much and why he feels betrayed when he brings Jameson. He's like, we're going to go over here. We're going to see what's happening. Curtis Connors is the Lizard. I know it. And, of course, Peter did all this thing. He broke his camera and everything, so he didn't have evidence. And as the battle was going on, I felt that it just it felt very epic, especially for the time it was made in. And as the episode came to an end, we see Eddie Brock. We see really why he hates Spider-Man and everything. It just felt really well done. This is pretty much the show that got me back into watching superhero cartoons and falling in love with Spider-Man. I absolutely love this episode. On retrospect, I give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a great first episode, great intro to the character, gets everything rolling, and they really don't beat you over the head with all the backstory like modern cartoons do. It just gets going and doesn't stop.